Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Owlet tournament. It's me, Marks, alongside my great buddy, Jungle God, and today we are being produced by the wonderful, the lovely Silent Marine. But we've got an awesome match for you guys tonight because it's going to be Phoenix up against Otter Oxide. Right now, we're in Stage 2, Week number 3. So, Jungle God, what can you tell us about this little bit of a matchup we have tonight?
Well, this I don't want to say anything too definitive yet. Don't want to say anything too definitive yet. But I think we're gonna be seeing Otter Oxide take this in fairly convincing fashion. Phoenix has yet to show that they can really bring it at the level that most of the other teams in this division or in this league are, and Otter Oxide has consistently done very well in this league. And something else, they recently just picked up a couple new players, I believe. I'm not exactly familiar with who they are, but I know that that's been a source of a lot of excitement in like the nest and in chat and whatnot. So yeah, I think I'm excited to see what Otter Oxide brings. This is also my very first time casting for Otter Oxide, so I'm also really looking forward to that. But yeah, I think Otter Oxide is gonna take it, especially on the back of players like Hawk and Miraculous, who I think we really need to keep our eyes on. That DPS duo has just been so powerful. Not to say that Vrash and Nat aren't great as well, but Hawk and Miraculous have just been performing above and beyond, I think, a lot of the other DPS in the league.
Absolutely. And on top of that too, like you kind of mentioned earlier there, they did have a couple of subs come in for this stage 2 here. And Misfit, huge fan of Owlet and everything like that, but he said that Otter Oxide could go all the way. He actually had his cards on Otter Oxide being one of the top teams to compete with. And take a look at our standings right now. They are tied with Hyperion just in pure wins. They haven't dropped they haven't dropped a map or a round yet. And so it's pretty convincing so far. Is Phoenix going to be able to chip away at their armor, though? That's going to be the real question of tonight.
Yeah, it really, really is. And, before we get too much further into this, I am doing color casting tonight, but I make no guarantees because I am in fact colorblind. So, sorry, I've been sitting on that one for about 5-10. I'm sitting on that one for about 5-10 minutes now, and really needed to get it out. It was burning a hole in my pocket, so as it were.
You've been nested on that like a mother bird as springtime. That's what I'm hearing.
I have. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, we're going to be going to our first map right now. It's going to be on Busan, classic 2 control point right here. And once again, Phoenix versus Otter Oxide. Who is going to be coming out on top and who's going to be claiming this first map?
Yeah, all very good questions. And, it'll be interesting to see which map we load into first. We're going to Sanctuary first. So this map, you can see a lot of different kinds of compositions run on it. Of course, Brawl is a composition that you can run just about anywhere at any time. But this map does favor, or it can favor more compositions that involve things like Wrecking Ball or a Double Bubble even. So we may see a couple different things coming out. And as we load in, it looks like we're already seeing actually Double Bubble and Dive in this case. We'll have to see if this stays once the doors open, but at least at the start, it looks like, yeah, we're going to be seeing something a little bit different than maybe we normally would on other maps.
See, Jungle, I feel like you know me well enough to know that I'm a huge fan of just rush compositions, but there's something to be said about the dive composition, especially to that double bubble. It's just so powerful at dislocating and hurting some of those backline players, especially too, taking a look at the Otter Oxide side, we have Jumpy on this Moira, who's going to be an extremely prime dive target for Phoenix to just dive on.
Yeah, that they will. Now, what's interesting, too, is we have the Double Bubble versus the Dive, and the Double Bubble is probably going to play slower here. But we see the engagement has already started.
And right off the bat, Max 35 is going to be falling down, which is a dive tank down. And now we can just see the Otter Oxide team. They just want to be moving in on this right now. Vrash up in the air. Hawk trying to pressure him down a little bit. But you can see that there's just going to be a disengage from Phoenix as the Otters are going to be able to push them backwards. And as soon as that point opens up, they're going to be welcoming us with their first cap.
Yeah, they will. And, you know, I think that first fight really spoke to the difference in the team compositions, right? Like, we have a dive coming out on the side of Otter Oxide, and that is going to move just so much quicker, right? In order to, in engagements and in picks and whatnot. So, yeah, seeing now that we've got a composition swap coming over from Phoenix makes some sense now. You know, they're gonna go with something that can really maybe punish this dive a little bit more.
Max over onto this Reinhardt, bringing the rush. He heard me, and he said we can move forwards with that one, Marks. And as they are going to be wrapping around here, it looks like they're actually chasing the Otters around the side. Rash, though, kicking it off with a pick onto Miraculous, and now this is going to be the point at which Phoenix wants to engage. But the counter pressure coming in from Otter Oxide just appears to be too strong. Hawk just coming through on that clean pick onto Matt, and then with Max falling down as well, this is once again just Otter Oxide just cleaning them up and keeping this point pretty strongly, honestly.
Yeah, Otter Oxide really didn't have much of a problem there, adjusting to the rush composition that Phoenix decided to come out with. And, you know, now we have to take a look at the ult economy at this point, because look at this. Otter Oxide is coming in with 5, almost 6 ults, and because of the composition switch, Phoenix is very, very far behind. So we're really gonna watch how this Dragon Strike and this Diva Bomb affects this fight, as they're probably gonna open with one of them.
And let's not forget about the Coalescence just being used to keep everybody alive. But it's going to be a lot of pressure on there. Yellow Cello popping to self-destruct. These are a lot of ults being committed, and it definitely is working out right now as Otter Oxide are just taking a pure numbers advantage, as this is a very decisive victory. Bishop just cleaning up that baby diva. And once again, the Otters looking strong. Can anybody even come back and contest it? This is going to be extremely hard for them, and that's going to be point number 1 going for Otter Oxide pretty decisively.
Yeah, very, very decisively. I mean, it looks to me like I'm not even sure if Phoenix got any ultimates online during that last fight because of the composition swap. You know, Otter Oxide was able to dive in and get those picks so quickly that the entire team either Phoenix just died on point without gaining any, much ult charge, or they had to back out so quickly that they weren't able to get anything done either. So yeah, that was very, very convincing fight. Now we're moving on to Mecha Base, which is really going to favor the rush composition this time.
And we can see both of these teams, they're going to be using their rush because it's rush all day. Press that W key down and get that left click ready, because these are going to just be straight up brawls here, as both of these teams are going to be starting the engagement onto the high ground. Pretty classic stuff, but it's going to be a Maywall coming out that's just going to isolate the tanks in the front line, and Otter's unable to capitalize on that. Despite that added pressure, the Immortality Field is going to be forced out, but it looks like Phoenix are going to be moving forwards on this attack. Now another Maywall is going to be coming out just to slow down the pressure there, but that's going to be a big pick onto Vic. Now suddenly the Phoenix team feeling a little bit slower, as the Otters are going to be swimming their way to victory, just stamping out Phoenix once again, finishing up Rash. Now they're going to be hopping onto the point and getting that first capture.
Yeah, and you know what was interesting to me about that fight is, if you watch the very beginning of it, Max 35 on that Reinhardt for Phoenix actually was he was building his ult charge a whole lot faster than Bishop was. I mean, you even see Bishop still doesn't have their Earth Shatter online. So that makes me wonder if maybe, Phoenix needs to pump a little bit more support into that Reinhardt to enable him, because it's clear that Max can do something. Fight starting out though already.
Yeah, the Amplification Matrix is going to be moving forwards, but you know what works better? If you push him back that way and then throw down an Earth Shatter. Says Max, but Miraculous actually taking out the Beast. That's going to reduce a lot of healing that Phoenix is going to be able to hold onto. Meanwhile, Big Muzzy throwing out the Sound Barrier is going to give the Otters just a lot more force. Bishop unfortunately whiffing his Shatter, but it doesn't matter because they're just going to be walking forwards once again, being able to clean up Phoenix once again. That's Otter Oxide with a very strong hold here. Even though there were some whiffed ultimates, why did Otter Oxide come out on top?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It just has to come down to, I think, the coordination that we're seeing on the side of Otter Oxide. But Bishop is missing that Earth Shatter now, and look at what Phoenix has to work with. If they're gonna win a fight, it's gonna be this one.
Well, the Blizzard is coming out, and the Blizzard is good for so many, as once again, the beauty of this rush composition is when everybody's frozen, then Reinhardt is basically playing golf with his large hammer against some icicles. So once again, Otter Oxide feeling extremely in control of this point.
Ooh, yeah, and with that late pick onto CSP, that is going to cause a lot of problems. I mean, we're already at 80%. You know, we were in last fight territory as it was, but we've got so much less time to try and make something happen on the side of Phoenix. And again, they've got the ults to make something happen. Crash starts with the Blizzard. But
it got eaten immediately by Yellow Cello. Now Bishop just coming through and finishing off a couple of people from Phoenix. Even though the Sound Barrier comes out from Vic, it doesn't help them at all because there's just so much pressure from Otter Oxide, just stamping Phoenix out very decisively once again, holding on to this point, just a complete full hold on these 2 points, as that's going to be Otter Oxide getting map number 1.
Yeah, you know, to me, this just looks like an understanding of the composition difference, too, right? Phoenix was, I feel like their tempo was off. They were slow to initiate. And when you're playing Rush, you want to initiate fast and hard, right? You want to get in there and you want to pick one person to burst down and take them out of the fight. And that's exactly what we saw Otter Oxide do on this last map. And frankly, that's what we saw them do too in the first one when they were playing the dive composition.
Absolutely. And you could even kind of see what was going on there if you were watching how Phoenix's chose to engage there. They seemed to favor just having Max go into it, but the rest of the team just wasn't caught up to him quite yet before he decided to engage. You know, we saw that on that Winston dive in, and then consistently again with, that Reinhardt. And hats off to, I think it was Hawk playing that Mei, being able to just isolate him with those ice walls, and then suddenly you can just collapse and boop, you're missing a tank. What do? Panic.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you panic. And then once you're done panicking, you start to breathe again, and then you have to either make the decision, do we back out now, or do we try and push forward and equalize with a pick of our own? And honestly, it wasn't really clear to me watching Phoenix which one they were deciding to do. I think, you know, a decision needs to be made much quicker on the side of the Phoenix. You know, do we back out, or do we try and equalize and win this fight? And if they can start to make that decision process happen a little bit faster, then they could see some success moving forward.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. But Phoenix, they're not out of this yet. Right now, Otter Oxide leading the series 1-0. But we are going to be going next to Rialto. I don't know if that sentence I just said made any sense, but I think you caught on to what I meant.
No, I think you did.
Number 2, we're going to Rialto, and that's kind of the end of the story there.
Yeah, we are going to Rialto, and once again, this heavily, I think this heavily favors Rush, but you can also come out with more of a pick composition, or even a double shield as well. You know, try to play it a little slower, kite away from that Rush composition as much as you can, you know, and see if you can't get a pick during a rotation, something like that. But I'm not sure if we're going to see that look coming out from either team. I fully expect to see Brawl again, but yeah, sorry, my southern roots were coming out there a little bit. I am originally from Southwest Virginia, but I have not been there in about 20 years. But every now and then they pop out like that.
Yep. Likes to make itself known.
It does. It you know, my southern heritage tries desperately to remind me where I came from at the most inopportune times. But back to Rialto. You know, I would not be surprised if we see either a first or second point hold here from Otter Oxide, just given how dominant they looked on that last map. And, you know, I think you brought up a good point too in talking about like Max and the timing, right? I think Max might have the right idea in terms of the timing. I think he just needs his team to be there with him. Either that, or he needs to be a little bit more aware of where his team is before he engages, because he is getting value. He's just not necessarily getting it at the right time.
Absolutely. And also, too, there's a line that's coming to mind just as you were talking there. It was probably on some sort of Owl stream or something like that. But I think there's a difference between playing to win versus playing not to lose. And right now, it does feel like Phoenix is playing not to lose, not to win here.
You know, that's an interesting point too. Some of the slow tempo that we could be seeing could be attributed perhaps to just tentativeness. You know, they're unsure of when to go in, or they're just unsure of themselves or the timing of this, perhaps. So I think that's a really insightful comment as well.
Call me
You
Confucius, Juggle. What can I say?
We'll call you Confucius, and we'll call me Confusion. How about
Oh,
that?
okay. Thanks, Confucius and Confusion. Back at
Confucius
it
and
again.
Confusion. Yeah, exactly. But
All
you know,
right.
I've spent a lot of time talking about like what Phoenix can do to, you know, improve, but I haven't really spent a whole lot of time talking about what Otter Oxide is doing very well. And the TLDR is everything so far is what they're doing well. You know, I haven't seen much that looked subpar from them at all. You know, and really right now it's nobody's standing out to me either on Otter Oxide. They're all pulling their weight right now and doing a fantastic job of holding off Phoenix.
Yep, they absolutely feel like a coordinated team. You know, we definitely saw that on that first round when they were kiting Phoenix around. Like the fact that they were able to do that, and they lost a couple of members, but were just able to laser focus in on who the necessary picks were on Phoenix, and then just completely flip that team fight around. You know, that's something special. That's something special.
It is, and even when Phoenix, there were a couple times where Phoenix came out with a pick early on, but Otter Oxide was able to just not panic, take it slow, and do what they needed to do. And as we load in here to Rialto, I fully anticipate seeing the exact same thing from Otter Oxide come out.
Absolutely, and we're going to be starting out with Phoenix on attack first. So Otter Oxide are going to be the ones setting the tempo for this defense. Bold prediction, Jungle. You said that they might hold them here. Do you want to change now, or are you just going to double down?
No, I'm gonna double down. I would not be surprised at all, because this is a tough map, and like the reason, right? The reason that I think we might see a full hold here is because it took so long for Phoenix to kind of get going, as it were, right? With those in the control point maps, right? And you know, you have to win 1 to 2 fights in order to cap this first point. And so far, I'm not sure if we've seen that happen from the side of Phoenix. And yeah, Otter Oxide so far just looks impenetrable, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And also, too, seeing Hawk on this Reaper makes me think that they're going to be going for a couple of cheeky plays here. It's going to be interesting, especially if Max decides to step and keep on this Winston, because that's a really big squishy monkey for your dual shotguns.
Yes, that is. So look for Hawk to punish any kind of, you know, positioning errors that Max or any of the other team may make. We may even see a flank coming in from Hawk or Miraculous as well. You know, just depends on how they want to kind of handle.
And it is interesting that Otter Oxide is deciding to hold the high ground as opposed to the corners. You often see these teams hold the corners, but as soon as they say that, they drop down, and now they've got full cart control. Ooh. Hawk opening this up with a pick onto Nat. That is going to be a hack out of the way here, and Nat needs to build up that EMP, because that's going to be a devastating ultimate for Otter Oxide. But we see now the rotation is coming through. They know where they are, and now the Otters are going to be pushing forwards here. Yellow Cello finding the beast, eliminating any of that healing, and once again, it's going to be a monkey facing down 2 barrels of a shotgun, and he goes flying through the air as the bullets penetrate right through his back there. Yellow Cello now cleaning this up. They've got Rash in the back, but it's no problem for them as Otter Oxide are one step closer to this full hold.
Yeah, and you know, it was on the back of I believe Hawk right there. Hawk was able to get a lot of value with that Reaper, taking out Nat initially as well. You know, I'm imagining Nat was caught out on a flank, and moving into this next fight, you know, Bishop has this Earth Shatter ready to go, just about. You know, it's not going to take very long for them to build it up. We also have the window, which comes out to start the fight.
That is so brutal to push into, and you can just see the comboed with the Fire Strike. Vic doesn't even see it coming as he gets swept up, and once again, Hawk finding the better of the team. You know, I want to point your attention to something here. The Beast is playing Moira, and the whole point of playing Moira is to build up the Coalescence as quick as he can, but he's only at 70% after 2 fights, and we see him even swap off. That was an interesting pick.
Yeah, that's gonna really put a damper on things. But you know, if you're gonna make a swap, now is the time to do it, right? Because you want to make sure that you can build up these ultimates that you're swapping to. So, you know, kudos to them for taking the opportunity to do it early. But look at these ults that Otter Oxide has to work with on this next engage. I fear for Max's life.
Oh, and you fear for Nat's life too, because it's going to be a Deadeye coming through, taking her out with Miraculous just chasing down the Beast. The Beast able to survive, only to be taken out by Big Muzzy. But we've got a Primal Winston in the background. Max trying to do as much as he possibly can, but he has to back off because his team isn't there to support him. And Bishop finding the late pick onto CSPPP is going to just seal the deal on this one. You know, right now, Phoenix, they've got 1:20 left. They need to do something different to make this point happen.
Yeah, and it's just now that they're starting to get some of their ults online as well. Vrash has this duplicate, which could be what Phoenix needs to try and get something started, especially, yeah, if they find the Reinhardt.
Yeah, that is an extremely early duplicate, but it could work out as they're going to block a shatter, and oh my god, Wrench coming through with a massive shatter. Able to pin 3 people down, but it isn't enough. Meanwhile, Hawk in the background just lets the Death Blossom go, taking out Max and putting on so much pressure onto this backline that once again, Phoenix just don't have an answer for as the bodies hit the floor. This is once again Otter Oxide shutting down yet another team fight.
Yeah, and there's only 40 seconds on the clock left for them to capture this first point, and we have yet to see a Phoenix fight win come in. You know, and despite all of the fantastic play that Bishop put up top, you know, it looks to me like there was just a miscommunication there or something, because Hawkwood just had free reign. Sorry, when Vrash had that shatter, I mean.
Yep, and now we're going to be seeing the Nano Boost come out onto Max, but Miraculous with the Deadeye, able to take out both Nat and the Beast. That is so much healing and so much damage just immediately deleted in the blink of an eye. Say high noon, if you will. They're going to see the res come off here. CSPPP is going to be running for his life, but with a window up in front of the door, well, it's to the windows, and it's going to be round 1 down. Otter Oxide holding them extremely strongly at point number 1.
Yeah, to the windows, to the wall that happens to be Otter Oxide, I think is the picture that we are seeing right here. They are kind of like a brick wall. Yeah, I mean, that was, I mean, look at how little Otter Oxide has to push this in order to get it, in order to get the map win. Like, it's just barely around that second corner of this first point of Rialto. So Otter, you know, Phoenix has to come out, I think, with some incredible sustain here, you know, like a May and a Reaper, you know, DPS that can heal themselves. Maybe the same thing with the tanks. You know, if even one member goes down, that could spell the end for this map and for Phoenix's hope of, you know, taking a point off of Otter Oxide here at least.
Absolutely, and we see Phoenix, they're going to be opting to play for this classic rush style, kind of copying what Otter Oxide had set up here. But Otter Oxide, the point's right around the corner, and especially too if they can just cross that bridge, then it's going to be looking extremely winnable for them. Someone might have to sweep up the floor right now because there's so much debris everywhere from those Otters mixing everything up. But without further ado, the doors are going to be opening, and this is Otter Oxide ready to make the mile happen.
Yeah, and as we move into this, I'm going to be keeping an eye specifically on CSPPP, because they're going to be the ones who's going to be responsible for, you know, mitigating a lot of the damage and a lot of the effectiveness that Hawk and Miraculous might be able to exert on this push. And already we're seeing a bit of a split in Phoenix's positioning. Look at this. They're kind of a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, and that's not going to be good because it's going to just allow Otter Oxide to now play on this high ground. You know, they can just decide how they want to engage here, especially, too, if you've got your squishy members just running away right now. We can see Max trying to do a little bit of damage. The Immortality Field from both sides are going to be thrown out just to keep everybody alive because it really is just the first pick which could really change things around. But Vic coming alive, able to take out 2. Miraculous takes out Vrash, though. Right now, Otter Oxide does have the respawners advantage. If Vic dueling with Miraculous, Vic's able to take him out, and that's going to be Phoenix holding on to this, but that was kind of close.
That was very close. You know, I'm impressed with Phoenix coming out with a win right there, especially because there was a pick initially in favor of Otter Oxide, but they were able to pull it back. Now, moving into this fight, Phoenix has some ults to work with. They can pop this amplification matrix early to kind of keep to kind of keep Otter Oxide at bay. And there we go. It comes in from Jumpy though first.
Bishop just throwing the Fire Strike through it, gonna get a nice and juicy Fire Strike right into Vic, but now the picks are coming through for Otter Oxide. Bishop holding on to this, what do you call it, Earth Shatter. Max doing exactly the same. Max doesn't even want to move away from this point on the cart, even though his team is just falling around beside him. He's gonna be taken out of the picture completely as Bishop just flies across the map, taking his buddy down right into the wall, and that's gonna be Otter Oxide taking map number 2.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Otter Oxide is speed running tonight in quite incredible fashion. You know that that last fight, watching Otter Oxide regroup right after Bishop went low, and then rotating around really was great game sense right there. You know, knowing when to disengage is such a huge part of learning how to play a solid rush composition, and that was what that looked like to me.
Absolutely. Once again, you mentioned it after our first map, but it's worth mentioning again, Otter Oxide feel like they're playing as a team. And you can see, especially too, you know, when we're playing these rush compositions, you got Big Hammer flying around, you got icicles flying around, you got this dude throwing this stun grenade midair. You know, you really need to focus on that team composition and team synergy just to make sure that you're able to keep some of your healers alive, and also too that you're ready to adapt and rotate together. Because we saw Phoenix, they were kind of split up after certain points, and that really was detrimental to their positioning.
Yeah, and they seem to be split for no good reason that I could find. You know, on that very first push from Otter Oxide when Phoenix was on defense, I don't know if you caught this, but Baptiste was around 1 to 2 corners away from Reinhardt at the front, right? Like just kind of sitting in the back with Diva, and that, you know, you're not going to get a whole lot of value, I don't think, out of your picks if you don't have line of sight of your main tank. You know, they were able to pull out the win on that first engagement, but it was surprising.
Well, I need to get my wallet because you did double down, and that was a full hold. So I guess, like, you know, my predictions are just on the floor. Your predictions just tend to be rising in stock value. That's how the stock market works, right?
Maybe I'm not quite as colorblind as I thought I was. I'm still.
Seems like you're reading these colors just fine, Juggle.
Well, thank you. I have to. I am very colorblind, as a matter of fact. I don't have them with me. I normally use colorblind corrective glasses when I cast or play Overwatch, but yeah, the colors are actually reasonable enough for me to not need them tonight. So you never see it. It's always in between. I'm fast. I'm like a ninja. But you know, it does happen. So looks like we are going to be headed to the classic Brawl extravaganza known as King's Row.
You'll love to see it. This is going to be our third map. So if Otter Oxide are able to beat Phoenix here, then they are going to be winning the series, taking it 2 wins in their match history as of stage 2. Haven't lost a map yet. They want to keep that momentum rolling. But Phoenix, if this is your time to rise from the ashes, then we got to see something happen here on King's Row. You know, like you said, a lot of rush composition. Seems like Phoenix is more comfortable on the rush composition. They might favor the double bubble a little bit more, but Phoenix, if you got something to prove, you know, Juggle's been saying that, you know, Otter Oxide just going to stamp him out. It's time for you to come alive and prove him wrong.
Do it. I'm happy to be proved wrong, and would not be surprised either. You know, given my given you know my pedigree, I guess, as it were. I don't know how you want to say it.
As long as you can see which color's which, that's what's important here. I don't want to think
exactly.
Phoenix is like, you know, they swept Otter Oxide here just because of the color.
No, nothing like that. Although I do have to say, Yellow Cello is sporting my favorite color in their name on Otter Oxide, so I like that. But let's get back to the match and what's actually going to be happening on the ground here, right? Now, I expect to actually see Phoenix do a little bit better on this map. And the reason is that it's a little bit more enclosed. It actually forces you to play together more, especially when you get to Streets phase on second point, right? Mm-hmm. So as long as they can, you know, put a chink in that armor of Otter Oxide's, you know, in on that first point, I would anticipate seeing them getting all the way to third potentially, and giving Otter Oxide a much more, more of a run for their money on this. But that's all going to depend on whether or not Phoenix really can play together and pull it in.
Absolutely. And we're going to see if that is going to be the case, because it's going to be Phoenix attacking first. So these Otters, they're going to be setting up their defense. But like you said, if Phoenix can get some of these team fights, then it is very possible for them to make it all the way to point number 2 and make this a pretty competitive match up against Otter Oxide here.
Yeah. And, I want to call out the tanks too from Otter Oxide. Yellow Cello and Bishop have been doing a phenomenal job. I mean, we have not seen that front line falter even once. And, you have to give credit to the supports for that as well. But really, I think, my eyes have been constantly drawn towards this tank line of Otter Oxide this match.
Spoken like a true tank main that you are, Juggle. I call Spooky out on it all the time. Don't worry. But
yeah,
actually,
that's
Bishop,
true. But yeah,
Bishop and Yellow Cello have been doing a wonderful job. I do want to highlight Yellow Cello as well, because he has gotten a couple of eats onto some of the blizzards coming out from Phoenix, and those are absolutely huge. Like, you can't discount that value at all. That's a team fight winning ultimate right there that just goes boop and it's gone. So shout out to Yellow Cello for getting that.
Yeah. Now, I like this look coming out from Phoenix right now, especially Vrash on this Doomfist, because you're looking for picks, right? If Vrash can get in there and get 1 or 2 picks, that could be all that Phoenix needs to really get something going here.
Yeah, now we see Phoenix actually opting to take the high ground and potentially rotate around this Otter Oxide team. Now Vrash going into this backline, but is immediately pressured by a Diva, but he's going to have support from Nat, and now Yellow Cello falling extremely low, just having to back off there. But now this is just going to be a brawl under the point, a good isolating Mei wall here as Vrash is able to de-mech Yellow Cello, and that's going to be absolutely huge for Phoenix here, The prophecy, it's coming true. Phoenix are finding the picks right now off the back of Rash, Nat, and Max, as they should be able to just take point number 1 away from Otter Oxide.
Yeah, now, I think right there, that was a little bit of a misplay from Yellow Cello, trying to go up there and trying to go up to that high ground and distract Otter Oxide. It was, they went down very low. They didn't die, but that was a lot of resources that the support had to pump into them, which they couldn't use to sustain other members throughout that fight. And I think that's the reason we saw Phoenix able to cap that so quickly.
Ooh. And the amplification matrix is coming out, but it's going to be Vrash once again, just rushing through, punching Bishop into the wall, as Nat's going to pick Hawk as well. And now Phoenix are just going to be walking through this. Big Muzzy, though, catches Vrash mid-air as is going to be flying across the map. But look at this positioning from Phoenix. They're all the way up to the second point and extending a little bit further than that.
Yeah, this is really, really impressive from them. Streets Phase does seem to be treating him very well right now, and Max has this Shatter coming online, and we've seen him hit some pretty good ones here. Nat might have seen a ghost right there, not entirely sure, but Bishop also has this. Here we go, the fight starting with the Deadeye from Nat.
And the Maywall and Ryan Shield are going to be good to absolutely shut that one down, but that's going to be a huge 3-man shatter from Bishop. They were just completely caught off guard, but the Beast is going to be taken out, Bishop. Blizzard is going to be thrown into the back line as Hawk is able to find 2. But once again, they've got to deal with Max in the front, and as soon as I say that, they're going to be doing just that. Now Vic on the run, but can't escape from the deadly claws of Hawk, as finally Otter Oxide has stabilized.
Yeah, no, that was a fantastic recapture by Otter Oxide on the back of that shatter from Bishop, just laying everybody out from Phoenix, especially after they used that Deadeye, to no effect. I think that was a little bit of a misplay again, this time from Nat. You wanna wait and hold that Deadeye until you've seen things like the Maywall go down.
Ooh, and look at this isolation coming out of here. But the High Noon, though, from Miraculous is going to take out that Beast, who probably was your main target you want to do, because now this is going to be Phoenix without any support heals there. But they're going to have a little bit of a back cap coming in from that. Thankfully, there, Lucio, nice and healthy, able to just come up here. And once again, that's Otter Oxide with a very decisive victory.
Yeah, that really was, and they're looking so good going into this next fight too. They have the Diva Bomb online. They've got Beat from Big Muzzy, that Sonic Barrier, to help them stay alive. And Jumpy is also coming up on his amplification matrix. Whereas we look over on the side of Phoenix, and They've got a few on, coming up as well, but they're not going to have them at the beginning of the fight. And, unless they use that beat maybe to aggress, I think this is looking a little bit more in favor of Otter Oxide.
Oh, but it's good if Rash finds the first pick on a Miraculous Ultimates or not. It doesn't matter because that fist is going to be good for one ST. He's going to be dropping down on top of this grab here. Not able to take anybody else with his ultimate, but it doesn't matter because once again, this is just going to be Phoenix off the back of Rash coming alive and being able to find these picks as Rash just hits Hawk with his fist. And that's going to be point number 2 for Phoenix.
Yeah, you've really got to hand it to Vrash. I think this swap over to the Doomfist has really paid dividends for Phoenix. Looking into this next fight, though, once again, it looks like Otter Oxide is going to be in a better situation than Phoenix, although Max does have this bomb. Diva Bomb comes in.
Behind Max, I don't think he saw it flying behind him. He probably thought it was just going to be up in the air, and that's going to take out the front line. And without that shield, this is just going to be a very easy walk forward for Otter Oxide. A lot of ultimates coming online for them, too.
Yeah, and I think this might be where the buck stops for Phoenix, although Vrash has really proved themselves on this Doomfist. If Otter Oxide can find a way to neutralize him, then I think they're probably going to hold on this third point here. But Nat has this Deadeye ready to go, and with that Shatter, it could be deadly.
Oh, but you know what else could be deadly? A nice ice-cold blizzard and icicle to the face as Hawk is able to take out Nat. He is traded out by CSPPP, but right now Otter Oxide look like they're just in control. Without that Mei, they're losing a lot of damage, and this is just going to be them pushing Phoenix back once again, getting some stagger kills in too, just making that time bank drop down.
Yeah, they did an excellent job of neutralizing everything that Phoenix was throwing at them that round. But to Phoenix's credit, they were able to hold onto their ults. Nobody panic ulted or anything like that. So they still have this Shatter Deadeye that they can make use of. As long as they take out this Immortality Field or they get Jumpy in the Shatter.
Oh, but hey, that's going to be a 3-man Shatter right there. The Amplification Matrix is thrown out, and Vic's going to get the little bit of a push off into the drink on Big Muzzy. But the High Noon from Nat is going to come out. It isn't going to be good for anything, thankfully able to be shut down by Bishop. But this is just going to be Phoenix continuing to walk forwards. Vrash just doing so much work for Phoenix. He's almost bringing them home by himself. As, once again, Phoenix, they're looking pretty good right now. Otter Oxide, they got to get out of their spawn soon because this is, if they can't contest it right here, then Phoenix is going to bring this cart all the way. Finally, we see Bishop comes through with a flying Earth Shatter, able to take out Vic there with a little bit of a boop onto Vrash without their star player there. It couldn't be good. As Yellow Cello finds Vic as well. Otter Oxide bringing this one back around as CSPPP as well as Max are going to be coming through here. The Beast doesn't care though. He's going to take out Bishop and Jumpy. This is an absolute brawl on this point. What is going on? Max barely alive, finally is able to be taken out, but Otter Oxide once again are going to be able to stabilize on this point and finally push this Phoenix force back. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was exciting, and that was very, very close for Otter Oxide. They have a minute that they still have to burn off this clock, but they don't have too many tools coming into this. They do have a beat, which is going to give them a lot of sustain, and that Deadeye could buy them some time as well, especially early on in the fight. But yeah, Phoenix doesn't have much left to counter with.
That's an absolutely great hold from Miraculous. Just waited for him to use the Earth Shatter. Didn't even care. Was going to pop him before he got stunned. And that's going to be, once again, the Otter Oxide team coming through here, even though the pick from Vic is going to go on to Yellow Cello. But he's going to have to back off because, once again, that's just going to be sustained pressure that the Otter Oxide team is going to be able to just throw onto Phoenix. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, Max, that is a painful lesson I feel like every main tank learns multiple times. Never shatter into a Deadeye. I know I have done it countless times. But that'll shut you down real quick. And especially now that they don't have that shatter for this push, things are looking very, very dire for Phoenix's chance to cap this point.
Oh, when Jumpy's going to take out Nat through the Amplification Matrix. The Amplification Matrix came absolutely clutch for Otter Oxide Rash. It's a little bit hard to fly around when you're absolutely frozen solid, as the Otter Oxide are going to be able to just hold Phoenix here. They've got the Beast on point, but there's a giant swinging hammer Reinhardt with a giant bomb in the air, and as soon as they fall down, then once again, this is just going to be Otter Oxide stopping Phoenix from being able to cap all the way to that third point. Juggle, would you like to read my fortune? Because it seems like you're really good at predicting things tonight.
You know what? So far, so good. I'm not going to argue with success. I will take a little bit of credit for perhaps this. Yeah, the seeing that I am doing at this moment. I might not be able to see colors, but maybe I can see into the future. Who knows?
I'm pretty decent trade-off.
Yeah, you know what? I would take that. I would take that 100%. Now, as we swap over though to watch Phoenix try and put up this defense, I'm not sure what they're going to come out with. You know, the Doomfist from Vrash was so pivotal, but it's not really a pick that you typically think of on defense. Yet it looks like he is going to decide to run out with it. So, you know, if Otter Oxide continues to have trouble neutralizing him, then maybe this is going to be the path to a map victory for them.
Absolutely. Phoenix, they might be able to take their first map away from Otter Oxide, who hasn't lost one. But once again, I feel like their strategy is just based on Vrash getting a pick to start the fight off, because you can see Otter Oxide just reactively turn around, which just allows Max in the front line to just run them over. So a lot of pressure on Vrash here, but Otter Oxide, they know what they have to do to win. They don't want to lose the map here. They've been looking fantastic all of stage 2, and now they're going to be rolling out.
Yeah, now, Miraculous, I think, is going to be the key here to try and keep Vrash in check. Yellow Cello not going to be quite as effective at dealing with that Doom, but if Miraculous can get a stun onto Vrash, then he can eliminate him from the fight very, very quickly and open things up.
Speaking of opening things up, the first pick on the Nat might just do that for Otter Oxide, as we can see them just deciding to move forwards now. There's a lot of pressure coming in. Vrash doing Vrash things in the back, able to take out Yellow Cello, but Hawk is going to take out the healing for Phoenix, as once again, now the damage is not going to be able to be taken away, as once again, Bishop are just walking forward with his hammer, swinging it back and forth, hitting some heads, crushing some points, and that's going to be point number 1 for Otter Oxide.
Yeah, and you know, Vrash did a good job getting that pick in the backline, but you know, Vrash can't do everything for the team, right? You know, he's got to be able to feel confident that his team isn't going to get wiped when he goes into the backline like that. And right now, Phoenix just hasn't shown that that can be the case.
No, they haven't, and it's going to be just Phoenix walking into them despite the sustained pressure. There's going to be a Dragon Strike coming through with an Amplification Matrix, but once again, this Amplification Matrix has just been absolutely pivotal. Phoenix, they choose to continue to engage into Amplification Matrixes, which usually doesn't end too well for them, as Otter Oxide take an excellent positional advantage, kind of copying what Phoenix did.
Yeah, you know, it's so powerful to push forward this far in King's Row. You can absolutely do it just because there's so many corners that you can kite behind, you know, one after the other as you make your way back to the cart. Now, looking at this next fight, Bishop already has that Earth Shatter online, and again, along with that Deadeye, that could prove very, very, you know, powerful going into Phoenix. Here we see the Amplification Matrix pop, though, early by the Beast.
Look at that, Otter Oxide, unlike Phoenix, just decide to disengage off of that. You know, they already got their pick onto Max, and without a shield, that's going to be an easy Earth Shatter, as once again, they're just able to clean up Phoenix. And that's just going to be point number 2 at this rate. They're holding Phoenix back extremely strongly, and now they have a couple of more ultimates starting to come online.
Yeah, just like you said, Marks, all that Otter Oxide had to do was just wait for that Amplification Matrix to go down, and then let Bishop come in with an Earth Shatter. They didn't even need to use the Deadeye right there. They can hold it for this. And now we see Dragon Strike coming out to initiate this fight.
Oh my goodness, that's going to be just 2 DPS ults coming through. Miraculous getting a little bit flashy with it as he's able to take out so many, but Vrash is going to just rain the Fist of Justice down on top of his head. But that doesn't matter because Otter Oxide, they've comfortably capped point number 2 now. Win condition, very close by.
Yeah, it certainly is. And speaking of win conditions, right now I don't see anything really coming online that looks like a win condition for Phoenix. They just swapped over from that Doomfist onto the Reaper, you know, maybe to try and take out some of the shields a little bit more of Bishop, but already Miraculous has a pick on the
There's going to be a good shatter coming through here, but it doesn't matter because the picks are just coming through for Otter Oxide right now. You can see this Reaper hiding behind, ready to just pounce, and now it looks like that's going to be the time for him to do so, but Vrash is just receiving too much pressure from Otter Oxide. He is going to be hanging out, but now he doesn't even have the Wraith, and he's going to get a hammer and a bullet right in front of him. The Self-Destruct comes out just for good measure, but that's going to be Otter Oxide taking map number 3, sweeping Phoenix. They didn't even lose a map this entire match.
No, they rarely lost fights, as a matter of fact. I mean, they didn't really, during the control maps. But Phoenix, they did come alive here during this last, during King's Row, and I liked the look from them. I think that, Vrash on that Doomfist could be somebody, something to watch for and something to build around as well, right? I think that's a good look for them, and I'd like to see more of it coming forward. And maybe just some more coordination from the side of Phoenix. If they can tighten up maybe their comms, something along those lines, then I think they can do well. But Otter Oxide just unstoppable tonight, and now I see what all the hype is about. They look indomitable.
Yeah, Otter Oxide definitely coming out on top. They haven't dropped a map in the 2 matches that they have played so far. But Juggle, we have to pick an MVP here. And I think I've got a player that I'm looking at, but I'm curious, who do you think that who caught your eye?
Bishop on that main tank. And maybe this is just my main tank bias coming in, but he was able to hold that front line the entire time. I hardly even remember him going down, right? Unless the entire rest of his team did. So just phenomenal play. It wasn't maybe standout, but it was just solid, just absolutely solid. Another pick. I could be convinced of Miraculous as well, because they were really doing some great work on that DPS. Who's your pick?
Oh, you know what? I was actually gonna say Yellow Cello, but I think I see your. But that's also too because I'm an off tank bias, a little bit of a bias coming through here. But I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on Bishop. Bishop held that front line really well for his team. Just comboing the Fire Strike. But one thing that I really appreciated
was Fire Strike kills.
He was
so
really
many Fire Strike kills
at just kind of pacing himself and setting the tempo for his team. Just not afraid to hold that shield up when he needed it versus being ready to charge in. And I think that he just did a great job of playing that instrumental piece that led to Otter Oxide winning a lot of these fights here. So stay tuned. For just a minute, we're going to get an interview scheduled for you, but we're going to be thrown to a quick break. So be back in a minute, and don't worry, we're going to have someone from Otter Oxide. I think we might just have Bishop, who also, it's his birthday, so happy birthday, Bishop. But just stay tuned for a minute as we get that set up, and we'll see you in a bit. Welcome back to the Owlet tournament. It's week number 3 here in stage number 2. We just had Phoenix going up against Otter Oxide. And before we continue into this interview, I just want to say a quick correction. It is not Bishop's birthday, but actually the coach for Otter Oxide. That's going to be Mr.
Yes.
Crit. So happy birthday
Mr.
to
Crit.
Mr. Crits. Mr. Crit.
What a nice
Apologies on our
birthday
end.
present.
Exactly. He just turned 20. Happy birthday, Crit.
Hey, happy birthday, man. But we're joined by Bishop, our MVP of the match in this booth. And I just want to say, Bishop, Otter Oxide, you haven't dropped a single map yet in the stage 2 so far. So how does it feel sweeping the floor once again with Phoenix? You're up 6-0 in map differentials. How does that feel?
Well, honestly, it feels fantastic, especially since all of stage 1, I was stuck on the bench because I was ineligible. So just being able to go out there with these guys, it's a lot of fun. And especially since we kind of fell apart there at the end of stage 1, it's great to hit the ground running here in stage 2.
Yeah, you have done a fantastic job of that. Now, this my first question, I'm just curious, are you the shot caller for Otter Oxide? Are you the shot caller in game?
We kind of have a tier list, but at the top of it right now, I am the shot caller. So if we start losing, I'm probably going to lose that job quickly.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things that I complimented you on during the cast was just the way that you engaged and disengaged, and also the timing of your engagements as well. You all really seem to know when to move in and when to move out. So kudos to you and your shot calling there, because it was just fantastic. Now, what I want to know, I want to talk about King's Row a little bit, because you came up against a little bit more resistance there, especially after Rialto, where you full held first point. So, from my perspective, it really looked like Vrash was kind of leading the charge there from Phoenix. What did you all do what did you change in order to counter his aggression?
Well, first off, we were just completely taken back by the amount of speed and aggression Phoenix came out swinging on King's Row. We were on the back foot the whole time. It really just came down to we weren't taking clean fights. We weren't engaging cleanly. So when we got to point B, that's when we kind of took a deep breath and we were like, all right. We've gone up against Doomfist comps before. We know how to do this. Let's get back into our routine. Let's start taking good fights, and hopefully and thankfully we were able to start winning some of those team fights.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. The adjustments that you all made mid-match, I think, also speak volumes to how well you all played. Now, knowing that next, I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure if you're aware of what your schedule looks like moving forward, but you will be facing Hyperion, followed by Growlithe next. Now, are you going to do anything different in order to prepare for either of those matches?
Honestly, everyone in this tournament, regardless of what the win-loss records are, everyone in this tournament can win any day, and we've seen that with a couple really close matches and a couple upsets. So every week it's the same regimen. We got our scrims, we got our team discussions. We know win-loss wise, our record's getting harder and harder as we go. But every week we go in with the same mindset of clean team fights, not cluttering our comms, and just taking it one team fight at a time. Because we believe that we can show up every week and win every match. We really think we can go head to head with anyone in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, after what we saw today, I would agree. You all looked a lot cleaner and more in control than I think Growlithe did when they were going up against Phoenix. Phoenix was able to take a map off of them, I believe. Is that correct, or am I thinking of Volume 0? I'll have to go back and check. But regardless, yeah, you're, I think clean. You use that word multiple times. Clean is just such a great way to describe your all's play, and I think it works well with the name Oxide, or with the word Oxide in your name as well. It's quite appropriate. Now, Marks, do you have any other questions for Bishop here?
Not really, but I just wanted to open the floor for you, Bishop. Do you have anybody you'd like to thank, or any last comments before we wrap this up?
Well, I mean, you guys said I was the MVP, which shocked me because everyone on our team, we have Yellow, who is popping off on the Diva, and Zarya.
Yellow really was too.
You have our DPS line of Hawk and Miraculous, who every time they're called upon, they show up and they are able to get any kind. I think every single fight, especially on Busan to start the game off. We were able to get a quick pick, and that's how we were able to get quick fights going because of them. And then you got the support line that never stops healing your tanks, which I love, which is my boy Muzzy and my boy Jumpy. Jumpy's in there screaming at the comms because we're just being dummies, and he's just like, guys, you're going to die.
That's like Jumpy living up to his name. Yes.
He's screaming, I can't see you. Get back here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your win again, Bishop. Next up, you're going to be facing Hyperion, so can't wait to see how Otter Oxide goes for the rest of this stage.
Oh, we're very excited. It should be a lot of fun.
All right, thank you so much.
Can't wait to see it.
All right, well, that's going to be it for today. So thank you guys for tuning into the Owlet tournament. We've had Otter Oxide go up against Phoenix. Otter Oxide able to take them down 3-0. But make sure to stay tuned because next week we're going to be moving into week number 4. So all of these teams are going to be going up again. And actually, that's going to be Otter Oxide going up against Hyperion next week. So make sure you're sticking around and make sure you know what's going on in the Owlet tournament because we got a lot more games happening before Stage 2 playoffs, and it should be extremely exciting. Jungle, do you have any last things you would like to say?
Thank you all so much. Hit me and Marks with a follow if you've enjoyed our casting. Make sure to follow as well Silent Marine's channel, which I believe we are broadcasting on. And stick around because I think we are probably going to go raid the other channel, as I'm pretty sure that game is still going on right now. So thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, we will see you over on the main Owlet tournament, but thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Marks casting alongside Juggle, produced by the wonderful Silent Marine, and we'll catch you next time. So have a good night and have fun watching Team Growloo against Hyperion.